Hey everybody, GravyTrain here, about to do another GravyTraining video. Here we're going to be doing a hero spotlight on the relatively new hero, Craw. So, Craw, to get kind of started, Craw is a healer and he's undead. He's a dark hero, all of that stuff you probably already knew. I have him runed. Personally, I like having all of his abilities available right out of the gate. So I've got a couple of festives, a healer rune for the attack and defense and healing, another festive for more attack, a little bit of skill helps with the healing, and helps boost a few of his other abilities, and then an unbreakable heart for defense. So his stats end up being pretty balanced. 8,500 attack, 8,500 defense, skill 3427, so basically 3,500 skill, 47% crit chance, not bad. So, his abilities. He has the Soulless Scourge, meaning he's immune to poison, venom, wound, and disease, and he life steals 25% of all damage dealt. That is the standard undead buff. We have Soul Ledger. Soul Ledger absorbs souls per use of immortal life up to 5 times. For each soul, increase skill by 50% and max hit points by 30%. So that is pretty good. Although you're not going to really build up Soul Ledger very high in normal PvP. You might do it a little bit higher in dungeons, though. Especially in like boss mode dungeons or things like that where the enemies are going to be a lot stronger. So 30% skill is big. That means your crit's going to go up, your healing is going to go up, things like that. Nevermore, on death, he purges X debuffs, heals all allies where X is equal to the number of souls plus 1. So if he has not used Immortal Life, then he will purge 1 debuff off of every hero. If he's used 1, he'll purge 2, and so on, up to a total of 6. If you've got 6 debuffs on your heroes, you're probably having a bad day already. But, yeah, so if he dies, he has that like 1 extra thing where he heals the party and purges debuffs. Shard of Darkness, all allies start the dungeon with Foresight. If you are unfamiliar with what Foresight is, I have a video that goes over specifically the mechanics. So if you look in my mechanics spotlight, you will see the spotlight on Foresight. Immortality through death. Undead allies gain an additional 25% lifesteal for a total of a base of 50% lifesteal. Pretty damned awesome. And they get Foresight at the start of each turn. So, yeah, that's pretty darn good if you're running undead. He is also undead, so he gets it at the start of every turn, no matter what. And that's his passives. So, his actives. His basic wand attack is, yeah, it's not all that great. Even for follow-up attacks, it's really not all that much. So, Dark Designs. This ability kicks butt. So it is a ranged dark attack on all enemies for 3904 base damage. That's with my stats. That recovers 7211 health split between all allies. So that's a fairly large heal on top of everything else. And it's the split is probably the same way that like Emily's group heal or anything else does. It applies it in a specific order, but it's definitely nice to kind of be able to top off your health or take somebody from the verge of death away from the verge of death. And it applies Foresight to all allies. So if you started a dungeon and you're going up against Jin and Foresight has been removed to stop all the silences, it's going to reapply Foresight to everybody. If you can get this in, say, before, Valken does his to war artillery and freezes your whole party. It'll stop the freeze and that kind of stuff. So very, very helpful. So this is damage and healing. And the damage actually goes up pretty good. You start stacking up Future Sight so that it's going to do an attack debuff. You start getting other abilities. He starts getting stacks of Soul Ledger, and that damage becomes damn good. But this hits all enemies too, and that's basically 4,000 damage to every enemy. So you can target the taunting hero and pop the shield off of Emily, or kill Emily if her shield's already popped, or whatever. I mean, it's a really nice, strong first attack. Second ability, Immortal Life. This is the one that is tied to Soul Ledger. So it's a melee spirit attack. So this will not work on Solaris. Be careful. On target enemy for basically 6,000 base damage. This ends up being when everything is all boosted and everything is factored in. You've got attack buffs. There's potentially defense debuffs and things like that in the enemy. This ability is one of the hardest hitting abilities in the game. I was hitting in the Craw event. Now, granted, the Craw event, well, actually in the Jin event even, I was hitting the Craw boss, or the Jin boss, for 12 million, something like that. And that wasn't even the focused hero, anything like that. Wasn't wearing the honor-bound ring or anything like that. So this is pretty powerful. It hits very, very hard. You're guaranteed you're going to be back at full health when this is done. Not the rest of the team, but you will at least be back at full health. And it deals extra damage based on this hero's max health. So if you have high health on this hero, whether from buffs or from that 30% max health getting added from Soul Ledger and things like that, this attack just does more and more damage. And it also adds a soul to the Soul Ledger. So the first time you use this, you'll have one soul in your Soul Ledger, and that means that you're going to be doing, if we go back to the Soul Ledger stuff, you're going to have 30% more skill, which means more crit, more chances for things to proc, etc. And your hit points are going to go up. Your max hit points are going to go up, which is basically like free hit points. So that ability, Immortal Life, is really good. And Future Sight. Future Sight is great. These three things are the reason why I have 3 Fested, so I can do Future Sight right away if I need to. Especially if, say, I'm hasted, I can hit Future Sight and then Dark Designs, or Future Sight and Immortal Life. This requires basically 9,500 health, split between all allies. Buffs allied attack by 2x, so 200% damage, so it's going to double your damage. And it adds Foresight to all allies. So, one ability recovers almost 10,000 hit points split between your team. And the fewer people there are, the more each individual person gets. Buffs, basically it's one of the strongest attack buffs in the game. And it adds Foresight to all allies. Pretty darn good. Craw does not have an epic. So that is basically his abilities in a nutshell. I'm going to show a few PvP battles. You can see he's actually even on my defense with Jin. I mean, it's really good for, you're going to break their Jin silence coming in, and then you're going to silence them. I mean, it's really kind of dirty. Malice stops healing and some other stuff. So this is a good defense. It's almost impossible to crack with that current, like, overpowered Zen offense. That Zen offense will not work against this defense, and that's really what this is for. I'm losing some battles against, like, pure dwarf teams and stuff like that, but I'm not, like, nobody's even risking coming at me with Zen with this, so that's kind of serving my purpose. So let's take a look here. So they've got Jin, that's a perfect example. So what I'm going to do is I am going to, and of course I just literally yesterday capped off my Gibber from the VIP portal, and now they're doing a Gibber event. Sometimes I hate them. Okay, so here's Craw. So Craw is here to counteract Jin. And I did a spotlight on this team already, so you've probably seen some of this. You've seen me if I've been streaming with it, things like that. That's out here. But this is basically, so now there's currently a bug right now where Craw's, so the abilities are still actually usable, even though that visual bug shows that they're not, that they're silenced. So Jin's silence went in, Craw stopped it for everybody. So here I'm just going to generate some energy. Now I am going to haste Falcon, and then I'm just going to take his team apart. Alright, and see, this is an exact case, so I want to do maximum damage to this hero. I am currently hasted, so I'm going to use Future Sight. So, I mean, this will stop the fear. If he were to do Terror Storm, they'd still take the damage, but they wouldn't be feared, etc. And I'm going to use Immortal Life, and didn't do as much damage as it could have. It didn't crit. But still, I mean, that's like 7,000 damage right there. I'm not even going to bother. I'm just going to fly through this. Yeah, see, nobody is feared. Not one of them. He or she did get shocked, or did get silenced, but didn't get feared. Or did get paralyzed, but didn't get feared, so. And that's it. So that's typically how you're going to use Craw. You can use Craw anywhere you need a healer, anywhere you need a damage dealer, anywhere you need to stop Jin. I mean, if you're going up against Jin, you pretty much want to have Craw on your team. You could also go with Dagrind, but the problem is if something happens, Dagrind isn't going to be, like if Dagrind gets killed, something happens to Dagrind, he's only going to get rid of one debuff, and it's just any fast heroes that you have. Like if I was running Dagrind, Indigo wouldn't be able to actually take her turn and do anything because she'd be basically only basic attacking, and same with Zed. So you have to have Craw if there is a Jin on the other team. And like I said, it's practically a hard counter. It's not completely because it is conditional, as you see in my other video. But it'll stop Furno's attack debuff. It'll stop all sorts of other things like that. If you're going up purely against like a demon team with Malice, it's going to stop that debuff that Malice does. But like I said, it'll only stop one thing each round, or each time it's applied. So that's it. I hope you liked the video. I hope this was helpful. As always, I appreciate a thumbs up, comments, let me know what you think down below, and if you have not already subscribed, I would greatly appreciate it. I'm trying to get to where I can actually have a URL that's a lot easier to remember and things like that, so I only need about 20 more people for that. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.